I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Come on.
All right, welcome to Coach's Corner. So, Coach's Corner is just not basically based around professional fighters or people in the fighting game, boxers, but also, we take people from all walks of life that have stories and, boxing at every level kind of builds a story and, shows your resilience. So today I have a young lady who has been not only working with us in the gym, training hard, but her life is kind of like 360'd a little bit right now, and she is doing some amazing things. I have Leticia Duarte from Sips
and Secrets
podcast. Okay, and welcome. We appreciate you taking the time out here for you to come on Coach's Corner with us today. And look, meeting you and seeing from where you started to where you're evolving now is like your journey is like pretty crazy.
Thanks.
You're like, first of all, you've been training with yourself and Ian Bick.
Yeah.
Every morning. So
Yes.
She comes in at 7 a.m., sometimes 8, depending on when we're working. But kind of, walk us through. You're like on a little bit of a roller coaster. You're doing your own podcast thing right now, which is starting to really, really take off. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us how you came up with that idea. Give us a little bit of background on you.
Well, I mean, I guess to touch on like the background stuff, I've been working at a restaurant. I just hit 8 years the other day. So I've been there forever.
Should we shout out Stanziatos?
Oh, yeah, shout out to
Shout out
Stanziatos.
Moro, otherwise, but yeah.
Yeah, shout out Morrow, best boss I've ever had. But so I've been working there since I was a teenager. So basically, we've always kind of talked like all amongst the staff about how like we would always like want a reality TV show or just to kind of debrief and just talk about like our experiences in the restaurant. We always thought that was such a cool idea. So a couple years ago, I had a shitty camera. I bought some like $100 mics on Amazon. Didn't know shit about like recording a podcast or anything, but we recorded a couple episodes, me and a couple of coworkers. Never went anywhere. I was too nervous to post it. Then comes Ian, and Ian's like, "No, this is really good. Like, you gotta post this. You gotta do it. Just shoot." So that's where Sips and Secrets kind of all started.
Yeah, and kind of like the same with me with Ian, kind of talking to me a little bit about I wouldn't be sitting here. This is not something that in the beginning I was very comfortable doing, but now I feel it evolving and starting to find a creative side. So. Your podcast is relatively new. Now you're putting up content like crazy.
Yeah.
Give us some of the stuff for your criteria that you use for your material.
I mean, it's just kind of a lot of like random stuff. I think what really works out within like my platform, I guess, is I get a lot of people that are like in the industry who like are down to talk shit, So I feel like that's what it mostly is. It's just us complaining about work, which I mean everyone does, but I think that in the restaurants it's a little fun.
But there's got to be some great stories.
Oh yeah,
behind the scenes stories of working inside the restaurant, working at the bar, and
Yeah, you never really know like the crazy shit that actually happens. Like I feel like the holidays coming up, like I'll talk about it at like Christmas dinner and things like that. And people are like, what the hell, that happened to you? I'm like, yeah, but that's not a big deal. This happened too,
Yeah. So do you have one in mind that really kind of comes to mind when you're thinking about this? That's just, maybe the one incident or the one story that really.
Like really made me, I think... There's just so many, like there's definitely like ones as of more recently, just like fights at the bar and things like that. That definitely like is one of those shocking, like, what do you do now, But there's just been so much shit, like people doing drugs in the bathroom. Like I remember, this is so funny, like the first time that I ever saw drugs in real life, like I went to Danbury High School, and like people like were really into like carts and things like that. But like besides weed, I had never seen drugs in person or like medication that like people just take, So the first time that I ever saw drugs in real life, I was restocking a bathroom we used to have. So the bar used to be like a lot smaller. So we had like a little bathroom like right when you walked in. I don't know if you had ever been there at that
Yeah.
point. So there was like this little tiny bathroom that was like in the bar or like right next to the bar. And I remember going in there to restock it one shift, and I see this backpack on the floor. I'm like, fuck, someone left their backpack on the floor. Backpack's wide open. So when I went to go pull it, I didn't realize that it was wide open. Just white dust everywhere, like spilled all over the bathroom floor. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is this,
Yeah.
in the bathroom? So I go get my manager and I'm like, hey, dude, there's like this guy's backpack just made a fucking mess. Like, I need something to clean it up. He goes in the bathroom and he's like hysterically laughing at me. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? That's cocaine. Like, you've never seen coke? I'm like, cocaine? No, I didn't even know people in Danbury did coke, So just like things like that will come to mind, but it's just so much shit.
So kind of to date myself off of that, right? In the 80s, growing up and going out, every bathroom, every nightclub was just people doing coke. And not pot because it stunk, but the stalls you could hear, or see 3 or 4 people underneath the stall and their feet and everything are going into the bathroom and doing coke all over the place. Times are
So
just crazy times at that point. And we were talking earlier, right? So iconically, there are 3 nightclubs that go to boxers, right? Jack Dempsey's nightclub, which was in Times Square at the time, which was a huge dinner nightclub, right? And they had acts and everything. It was, you got dressed up, tuxedo, was was before my time, so I never got there. You have Jimmy Glenn's place, which is still there, Jimmy's Corner in Manhattan, which is a small legendary boxing gym with memorabilia all over the walls, pictures of people. Then you have David Diamante's down by Madison Square Garden. So great bars for the history of boxing. So like if you go to fights in New York, a lot of people will go to Diamante's afterwards because it's right next to Madison Square Garden, or Jimmy Glenn's down the street. So it's just some crazy stuff. But to you now, you're training. Came in the gym, don't know anything about boxing. Ian brings you in. What's it like in the experience to you? What do you feel? And from the beginning, you had to have some anxiety about coming in to do something new that you haven't really did.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the anxiety part of it, just not knowing what to expect. I mean, like I've played sports my whole life, so I guess I have a little bit of background in that stuff, but like I never expected it to be so much cardio and just so much like different movements. Like you're really working your whole entire body, and I think that that's something that I definitely didn't expect in the beginning. Um, But I don't know, I wouldn't say anxiety so much, like, I was really excited, I'd
Yeah.
say. Like, my brothers did, like, karate and, like, kickboxing and stuff growing up, and I was the little girl who my mom and dad were just like, "No, you're not doing that," you know?
Yeah.
So I've always had, like, some interest in it to the point where, like, I signed up for a kickboxing class. I actually never made it, but I signed up for a kickboxing class a couple years ago knowing, like, I would like it, but it really just started because I was wanting to get out of the walks, so
You wanted to get at, but you went back into the fire here. This is a little more than the walks. But you know, you've been at it now a couple of months. Your progression, how do you feel about your progression right now?
I mean, the best thing I can say is I definitely feel way stronger. Like I had no upper body strength. I had no core strength at all. Like we were talking about it earlier at the
Yeah.
gym. Where like, oh my gosh, those leg raises are fucking brutal.
Yeah, but like, here's the deal, right? With everything else, little things add up to big things, right? And what everybody wants to do is we want to see results right away, no matter what we do, whether it's a boxing gym or boxing is a process. Okay, you can't speed it up. All right, you saw if you watched Jake Paul Saturday night, he can't speed up the lack of experience that he has, no matter what he does. When he goes in with somebody who's stronger, who's been there, who has more experience, his lack of experience is going to show. You have to kind of follow the process. And it is a tedious process because everything is repetitive. We try to keep it as interesting as we can for you, because you guys are coming into condition. You're not trying to be fighters. But from my standpoint, like we talked today, your progression, maybe you don't see it from when you first came in, stronger, more confident. You're starting to know how to move in the ring, and you can throw combinations now. Take it to the next level a little bit more, a little bit more. As you get in better shape, you're going to feel better about it. And did you see yourself sticking with it after the beginning?
No. I really
Or you
didn't.
coerced?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm a known quitter. Like, this is one of my biggest things. Like,
But let me say something like that, okay? So I don't think that's true. You worked at the same place for 8 years. As a young woman, you're still a young woman, but that tells you you're not a quitter.
yeah, I mean, I guess there's certain things that I've like always loved,
Right.
you know? So I guess in some respects, yeah.
Yeah, but being uncomfortable, we all don't want to be uncomfortable, right? We don't. That's where you see people. I don't like to use the word quit. They give up. They throw in the towel. They stop doing it for whatever reason that their mind makes up. To do something at any level, you have to be uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable to me. I can't, like, it's getting easier, but it's still, I run things through my mind. I try to, you know, do my due diligence, but it's very uncomfortable for me to talk in front of people. As a kid, I didn't like taking pictures. I mean, now everything is you're on your phone 20 times before you even got here, right? So
Yeah.
now, but you're totally doing things right now that are not in your realm.
hmm
You're training. You're starting a new um, podcast, which is starting to take off, and that's work. How did you feel about jumping into that aspect of because we've talked a little bit, and you've taken to it pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like pretty good at picking things up quickly.
Mm.
So maybe that's what it is. I think that in the beginning, and what my boss like told me too, when I was telling him about the idea and stuff, is that he was just like, as long as you don't look at it as like, I'm not doing this because like I want to make money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to boxing because I want to be a boxer.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I genuinely enjoy it, and it's like that's where I'll go farther. Like.
Yeah, and to jump in with you, that's where I started with this. This started with, okay, we talked, I can put content out like yourself, right? Experiences, right? Access to certain people, right? No thought, and still really no thought of making money. I'm doing it because I like it. I wouldn't mind a little money. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say it's, I'm not, I wouldn't mind a few sponsors hint out there, but the genuine love of the game and the same thing with coaching. It's the love of the game. It's not about how much.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of comes out.
Yeah.
So what can we look for in your podcast now? I know you're still pretty much in the beginning stages. Is there a plan? Is there something that you're thinking about that you want to come across with it, or take it to or you just taking it slow, kind of seeing where it unravels right now?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to start posting more too. I think that like my I think that the issue that I'm seeing now is that like I edit my own episodes and everything, so like I'm going through the whole entire thing, watching it back like 3, 4 times and like looking for clips and all that stuff. I think that like where I need to get better and whatever, and I think it'll come obviously in time, but I want to start posting more episodes a week. So then that way I just have more content. I've realized that like not even with I mean, I guess you kind of direct someone a little bit, and so like I mean, you kind of direct someone a little bit in like what you want them to talk about in your podcast, but for the most part, you're getting people with like this experience that like it's naturally gonna come out. You just kind of have to tug
You
it
got
a
to pull
little.
it out a little bit. You got
Yeah.
to kind of set the stage. You know what it is. Is like, here's something, and we talked about this. You're doing everything, okay? You're editing your stuff. You're doing your clips. How did you pick up so fast and the trend? And I guess maybe it's the generational thing. It's your generation of, you know, phone, social media, and everything else. But how entailed is that? Because I really don't think people out there, and I'm not a crazy content guy. I have a lot of content. I need to be better, but I see a lot of people. Tell us how much time that entails out of your time, and I don't want to say hard, but there is a lot of time that you put into this. It's not like, oh, I got an hour and I'll put some stuff up. You're
Yeah.
putting a lot of time.
No, it's a lot of time, and I think that that's something that I didn't really realize. I think, honestly, like, for my generation being, like, so involved in phones and social media and stuff, I'm
Mm.
terrible, terrible with electronics, like, it's just so funny to me because, like, that's what people tell me all the time, but no, I'm horrible with it.
Mm.
It really just took I mean, like, me editing my podcast, like, at first, I was doing them like, it would take me 4 or 5 hours, you know? I think what helped me a lot too is obviously, like, the boys helped me a ton,
Yeah.
but what helped me is that I started taking a couple clients at the studio, so now I'm editing for other people, and that just kind of inherently makes you faster
Yeah,
and
but
better, you know?
no offense to the boys. The boys threw you in the deep end of the water and threw your computer in on top of you and said, "Learn how to edit."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I got a kid with them, but editing is pretty entailed.
Yeah.
I have no patience for it. I have an eye, but I have no patience to do it. And I just get very, very frustrated. But this is a lot of like for doing it right now, a lot of work for anyone that doesn't realize that, we're sitting here, how much work behind the scenes. Now, are you looking to go to a couple episodes a week or?
Yeah, I definitely wanna do a couple episodes a week. I don't know if I can do, like, 5, like,
Yeah.
Ian's crazy, but I definitely wanna do, like I mean, coming the new year, I wanna start doing, like, 2 episodes. I also kinda wanna, like, venture off, like, not all of hospitality is just restaurants, and, I mean, that's my safe spot now just because that's really all
Yeah.
I've done, but I definitely wanna get more into, like, retail and, like, hotels, and, like, I talk about it all the time, like, the stripper wants to come on, and, like, I haven't, like, set the time to do it, but I wanna do that so bad, just hearing their take.
Well, I think what it does, right? It opens your creativity, and there's a lot of ways that you could, split off of what you're doing, right? Because there are a lot of stories out there. If you're putting out good content. I was at um, an Italian place in Brooklyn, and I did content off my cell phone, which I haven't edited and dropped yet. And I think it's pretty good content because this place is old school, with all the delicacies, cheese, pasta, ladies bringing you espresso, people behind the counters, all the Italian fish for the holiday and everything. And they've been there over 70 years.
Oh, wow.
So, a lot of different stories. Are you getting people to reach out to you right now
Oh,
to
like
come on?
crazy. It's, like, honestly one of the coolest parts about it. Like, all over the country, like and it's fun too because Ian travels a lot for work, so, like,
Right.
sometimes I'll, like, tag along with him. So, I mean, now I'm just like, "Okay, where are we going to next? Who am I gonna hit up?" You know? Get different experiences, bigger cities, things like
Yeah.
that, so
I mean, do you see it, pretty much with you, right? The hospitality business is wide open. You can go across the country and find so many different stories from people working and you know the bar, the facility, the restaurant, the history of it, of what it is. Do you see on tapping it off a little bit more like that when you travel to do some stuff out of state, on the road?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think that, like, especially now that it's growing a little bit more and more people, like, want to do it. I think that, like, in theory, it sounds, like, so easy, but then you put lights and cameras in someone's face and it's a completely different thing, you know? Like, that's where I've always felt more comfortable doing it with people that I knew a little bit better, but,
Right.
I mean
Yeah, sort of myself also because in a lot of my early stuff was very, very nervous.
mm,
So I had people that I knew history about that I was able to keep conversations going or pull out information out of it. Now it's a little different. I'm getting hopefully better, I feel, but it is what this becomes is it becomes a full time, it engulfs you,
mhm.
to handle all your stuff and everything else. But um how has Ian helped you?
I mean, he's the one who's really on my ass about things. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can
Nah,
say
you can curse. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You're not on NBC.
Yeah. He's the one that's really on my ass about things like that. So, I mean, like, he's grown his podcast, doing this, but, like, not having any help, you know? So I think that he brings, like, a really helpful I guess, side to it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like his podcast is different than my podcast, you know. So just there's certain things that like I do that he doesn't do, and certain things that he does that I don't do. But just that,
Well,
like,
when it comes to putting up stuff and editing stuff, it's almost similar.
yeah, it is
Even
pretty
though the
similar.
content might be a little different, the theory is a little bit, I want to say, similar of what you should do. I mean, I find in business or in anything else, even in fighting and boxing, right? We have a plan. Okay, this is the plan. We're going to fight Leticia. I know I can watch tape on you. I can figure out, right? Okay, this is what she does. Then we come up with the plan. I kind of find with this content stuff, the algorithm is not a plan.
No.
Like, you put one thing up you think is really good and it tanks. Then you put something else up that you really just putting content up, right? And it takes off. There's no way to navigate through that algorithm.
hmm
Like, are you finding that with your stuff or how do you decide what to put up, or is it just put good content up?
I mean, I think now it's just as much as possible because, like you said, like there's just some that you're just like, oh, we're just putting this up because, and then there's some that are like, okay, this is gonna do great, and like that one gets like 100 views, and then the other one gets like 100,000. So right now the plan is really just pump it out and just see what hits.
Yeah, I mean, I did an interview with Katie Taylor. Figured I'm gonna get, she's the pound per pound best woman boxer in history right now, world champion in every division. It did okay, but it didn't do what I really thought it would do. I'm like,
Yeah.
we did it right, and it's just then I'll do some clips of some other stuff and just get crazy views, and it'll be like, I don't know, I can't figure this thing out. It makes me crazy.
No, it makes no
It
sense.
makes me crazy. But so now you're venturing into this full time.
hmm
How's that feel?
Feels weird. I think like when we were doing like our goodbyes and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
we had like it was the night of our Christmas party, and that was just my last night working and stuff. And I don't know. I think that like when you're 17 and you start something, and like now I'm 25, it's like I'm a grown woman. Like
Some days.
some days, yeah, some days. But like I don't know. It just feels so weird to like you start reminiscing on all these things. Like I was like 16, 17, or yeah, I was 17 when I started, but I was like 17, 18, like
Yeah.
fucking baby doing it. So I don't know.
So you change direction.
Yeah.
Okay. It's exciting and nerve wracking at the same time. If you weren't going to do this content, I mean, because I don't think anybody could say 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and it's definitely me. I planned on doing content, or I'm going to be a content creator and do podcasting and everything else. I think people start it. Some take it and run with it, and some it just dies on the vine because they figure out maybe it's not exciting, it takes too much work, they don't have access to do it. If you weren't going to do this, what was the plan?
I mean, I've had so many different ideas throughout the years. I think that I'm one of those people that gets really excited about something.
Mm.
And then I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna love it. And then like I do it, and I'm just like, okay, this is not it. But like I don't know. I think that my last really big goal is like I really wanted to do like events. Like I've always wanted to own like my own like bar truck and do like cool catering events, weddings, stuff like that. So I think probably something in that realm.
Venture into something else like that.
Yeah, but hospitality is where I belong. I know that.
Yeah, you have a good presence. You're a hard worker, definitely, from what I see in the gym and everything else, and hear from everybody. And I know probably Ian don't give you credit about that.
No, I don't think like it's so funny because like I was like when we had just started like going out,
Mm.
whatever. I mean, you don't really realize like how much work this all takes. Just behind the scenes, right? Like I would have never imagined that Ian is working 24/7.
So you want to know something?
Mm.
Like, I've watched the transformation of him from the beginning, right? And we talk about this with everybody, right? Success, whatever success that you have, people don't see what you do to be successful. They see you here. Oh man, he's here. And I used to, so when he first came in the gym, I told AJ, I said, a week. He's here a week. And right? He's not, because he was coming in at 10 o'clock at night
Yeah.
and he was doing all his stuff. He was still working, trying to do content, running to a studio in New York, coming back, picking people up. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And he did that, kept, but he was gaining momentum, but he kept training. And I'm saying, I got fighters that want to fight that don't train as much as this kid. I'm like, okay. Then I'm listening to him. So people see where he is today. And I got to give him credit because he made it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very good. First of all, he's a young man, had a little adversity in his life. Great. It happens to the best of us, right? He made it work.
Yeah.
You know what? And he's, you're involved with him now. So he's all business a good majority of the time.
Yeah. Sometimes I tell people that he's either 5, 15, or 55. So when he's working, he's 55.
Yeah.
When he's at the gym, he's 5.
No, 5 or 15. It depends.
Yeah,
the 5 or 15, right? When he comes here, he's 55, right?
Yeah.
That's a good analogy. I like that one. I'm going to use that one. Tell us a little bit how you guys met.
We met at the restaurant. Clearly.
Yeah, I know that, but I didn't get the full story, so I got to get the story from you.
Oh yeah, but even just to kind of touch on like what we were talking about before, like I don't think that he would have been interested in me if I didn't work as hard as I did, because like he was able to see that and whatever. But to touch on how we met, basically he came to the restaurant all the time. He was becoming really cool with my boss. So then one day I was just kind of like, my boss wasn't there yet. I was just checking in on them, making sure that they were good at the table and stuff. And then what happened? So then boss comes in. We're all like joking around, like having a good time. And I love like when we do that, just when like the whole staff is able to kind of like
interact with everybody.
Yeah. So we're all like, interacting at this table. And then my boss kind of makes the joke to Ian and to Kevin Lanning, who was there at the time, was like, oh, like Leticia's gotten arrested. She's like seen that whole side. So then Kevin invited me to go on his podcast. I came here, I recorded in the studio. And then I left. They ended up going to Stan's where I was at. I wasn't working that day. I was just hanging out. But then we just literally stayed there till 3 o'clock in the morning. Or no, not even. We stayed there till like 2 o'clock in the morning. We came back here and we stayed here. That was my first time, or my second time being in the studio. And we were here till almost 7 o'clock in the morning. Just talking.
Now it's a wrap.
Now it's a wrap. We've been inseparable.
You guys are yin and yang, though.
Yeah.
I watch you guys interact and everything else, and I think it's a good thing. I think you both complement each other, and then it's going to be exciting to watch your future grow together. But as a young woman today, let's touch on this. We'll go back to the gym in boxing, because I think people don't do things that are hard. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone, as I said before. They don't want to work hard today. They don't want to take a chance. Where does that come from in you? Because I think you have that work ethic. You see it. To work in a restaurant business at any level today is not easy. When I was a young man, I bust tables in a diner. My brother's a chef. You made good money in it, but it was hard work, and you took shit from people. But to be successful, I think you have to have some sort of work ethic. You have to have something that drives you, that makes you what you are. Where does that come from you?
I mean, my parents, honestly. Like both of them were immigrants. Like my mom came here, she was like 21 years old, and I mean, they got lucky in like the way that they did it, because my dad was sponsored by his boss at the time, who he still works for. Like this is over 30 years, But like, not that I fault them for anything, but I barely even saw my parents. They worked so hard, So it was just one of those things that I always I've always wanted to make it my mission to just get them out of there. Like I don't want my mom to work anymore. I don't want my dad to work anymore. I want to make them proud, but at the same time, like they busted their asses for like me and my siblings and stuff. Like I don't know.
But that's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents growing up, and they worked. You worked, and that comes down to you today. Why do you think now? You see a lot of people come through the restaurant and the hospitality business, a lot of types of personalities. What do you see out there that's kind of like different than you? Because I have many different people that I interact with, and some better than others, right? Um, but I see like a lostness in the generation out there.
Yeah. No, there
Do,
definitely is.
do you see that? And alcohol makes things look a lot different when you're on that other side, right? You get to see a lot of different personalities of people. What's your take on that?
I mean, honestly, I think alcohol is one hell of a drug, only to say, like, it does things to people that you would never expect it to, And, like, I don't know. I guess I kind of see both sides, Like some people are better when they're drinking and stuff, which is like it's crazy,
Yeah,
I hate it for them, but some people like it just brings out like the nastiest side of them that I'm just like I don't ever want to see you again, Like you just I had just as an example, not even to throw any names, but like I had someone that would come in with their families for dinner every weekend. So I was serving them. I was 18 years old, right? So then I transitioned to the bar. Now we're older. Now we're 22, 23, They're coming into the bar. I mean, they were so pleasant when they were with their families, And just kind of seeing like what they turned into coming in late nights and staying all types of hours and doing it again and again and again every weekend. I'm just like, you're shitty,
yeah.
So it does that a lot too. So I don't know. It's just it brings out the best and the worst of people, I guess.
How do you handle that in that environment now, especially when people change? How do you handle being calm and or maybe not being calm? I don't
Yeah.
know how you handle that. How do you handle that situation?
I'm gonna say like the best thing that I did learn in the restaurant is to not only just stick up for myself, but just kind of stick up for everyone around me too. I think like the assertiveness that I've gotten from there is the only way that you can make it work because like you need to remember too in a situation like that, and I'm sure just like in boxing too at the gym, like that is your space at the end of the day. People are invited in, people are more than welcome in. You can come in, whatever. But once you start disrespecting the space, that's when you have to cut it. And like if someone's disrespecting the staff when they're drunk or disrespecting just the establishment in general, that's when you have to cut it off and be like, yo, chill. If I have to tell you to chill like one more time, you're out of here. And I don't care. So I think that is probably the best way to
Yeah.
to go about that.
Do you feel you're ready to go over the bar now and throw some hands?
Oh, absolutely. I told my boss for I don't remember if it was Halloween or Thanksgiving Eve. I'm gonna say Thanksgiving Eve, but I remember I'd be like, "Yo, don't even hire security, bro. Me and Katya got it. Me and little Katya got it." You definitely feel like a confidence from it.
Well, listen, that's okay. So that's what boxing does. Okay, what boxing gets a bad rip is two people going in there and beating the shit out of each other. It's not that. It's more than that. Okay, if fight, there's levels, right? So the pro fighters are the cherry on the cake, right? That's the 1%ers. If you get lucky, you become a pro fighter, you coach a pro fighter, whatever the case may be. But to watch the stories evolve of, young kids, people getting confident, feeling good about themselves, not to fight, not to go jumping across the bar, but you can, right? And you feel like, look, you're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to take over my space. This is my space. Same thing as being in the ring. This is my ring. You got to drag me out of here, but it's mine. Okay? So you either got to take it or I got to give it to you. And I'm definitely not giving it to you. So I'm going to take it. But I'm going to put you on the spot. All right? I'm going to put you on the spot since we're on. would you take a fight? If you trained, would you take a fight?
I'd have to get better.
Of course that. But I'm saying, does that cross your mind?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why it crosses your mind. Because anybody that's competitive that does something like that wants an ends to the mean. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you know what? Okay, I'm doing this. I'd like to see a result, right? Like, look, with your podcast, you want to see a result, even though right now you're in the building stages, but eventually, maybe it's views, maybe it's monetization, maybe it's a full-time gig, but you're putting energy into it. And I think when you put energy into something, it definitely, you want to see, okay, what can I do with this energy? Can I do something more?
Yeah.
Can I try it out? So I don't know. I just had to put you on the spot and ask you that. I mean, especially after today, a little bit, the way you were ending up today, I thought it was really, really, we're starting to see some progress here across the board. But back a little bit more to you, and who are some of the guests that you would like to have on your podcast? Like, you have a lot of people reaching out to you. Do you have a bucket list of people that maybe you'd like to, have on and sit down and talk to them? And the other thing is, I don't think people realize that you have a full set that's actually like a bar
Yeah.
when you interview. So you're not podcasting like we are right here. You have a full setup. Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, these chairs are way cozier than mine. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but you have a little more authenticness,
Yeah.
with that. But is there anybody that,
I don't know. I feel like people's like go-to answers are always like celebrities and things like that. But I don't really know any celebrities who have worked in restaurants. I mean,
Mhm.
like a couple, but nothing that like I feel like would make for good content,
Right.
But I would love to hear like I was saying before, just like all sides of it, just different types of hospitality. I guess anyone cool in that
Yeah, you got
realm.
people reaching out to you now. Are they giving you little tidbits of their experiences when they reach out to you?
Oh yeah, I'll get like paragraph DMs and I'll read them to Ian and he's like, okay, yeah. And I'm just like, babe, that's so cool. Like, did you not hear that story?
Does anything really jump out at you, or is it pretty much all the same, or are you seeing a little bit of, variety?
I guess a little variety. What I would really like to have on is someone like that works in a crazy dive bar. Like someone that works in an insane dive bar that sees like the craziest shit. Like can't even go to the bathroom because you're so busy. Like I would love their take. But
Yeah. Now going out, right? Here, taking this, you guys going out when you walk into a place, are you thinking right away, like, oh man, let me see if there's, or, is there a story, just like you said, if I walked into a crazy dive bar?
yeah. Oh no, for sure. Like I mean, I just transitioned that. Every time I would go out, even with Ian, even before Ian,
Yeah.
like anytime I would go out, I had like that restaurant manager brain. Like, I wonder if anyone's good enough to
You
work
got a
there.
crazy dive bar story?
No, I mean I've only really worked at stands.
Even going out, you don't have a crazy dive bar that you went to, or a story or something that you saw in there that you
Um,
lived a sheltered life, didn't you? You never went out.
oh yeah, you never went out. I hope my mom's listening to this one. No, but no, I wouldn't say anything like super super crazy. Usually, I feel like you go to dive bars and you're like twisted, so you don't usually
And
remember
that's
too
where
much
some of the
after.
best stories are.
Yeah, that's true.
You want me to give you a dive bar story, or you want me to save
Please.
it? I'm going to give you a dive bar story. And I'm not going to use the person's name.
Okay.
I'll tell you off camera who it was, because Ian knows who he is also.
Oh man.
So we're in a place, it's a 24-hour bar. It's in Miami. It's an old bar, right?
Not Space. I know Space is open like 24 hours.
No, it was called Lucky Max.
Okay.
All right. First of all, we thought it was a nightclub. We go in the place, and it's pool table bar, regulars, people wandering in, tourists, everything else. And I was in there with an athlete. And we're sitting at the bar. First of all, he wanted to play pool, so we went in, we're playing pool, smoking cigars, blah, 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 blah. They served the beer in the cans, 16-ounce cans. Everything is in a tall boy, right? The regulars are in there. There's people. It's a great mix, right? So now a bunch of people come in, guys with girls. They're playing pool. They're talking to my buddy. And, you can see the girls are maybe a little flirtatious and the guys are not liking it at this point. So, but now it's late in the morning. It's like maybe, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And we've had a full day in Miami. We had went there to work out, and then we went down to the different restaurants, and, we were having a good time. Went to the beach, right? So I'm watching this thing unravel, and I'm like, damn, these guys are sitting next to me, and they're getting upset because he's playing pool with, and the girls are playing pool with him. They call the bartender over. I order up 3 beers, right? Now, I have one on the table, and he has one. He comes back, and he goes, what do you got so many beers in front of you for? I go, dumbass, you see those girls you're with? Yeah, that they're playing pool? You see the guys over here? Well, they're getting upset. Now, I'm in the corner. I said, because if we have a problem, I'm taking this can and I'm throwing it at that guy and hitting him in the head so we could fight our way out of here. And he just looked at me and he was like, okay. Then we just finished drinking and we were out till like 5 in the morning.
Oh, my God.
But this was the ultimate, out of all the places I've been in my life, one of the ultimate dive bars I've ever been in. Cool place in Miami.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I mean, like 24 hours is so insane. I can't imagine places. I can't imagine what their shift schedule looks like.
Well, back in the day in New York, there used to be after-hours clubs that were open. And the clubs were open till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Then you go to the after-hours club.
That's insane.
And just run it around the clock.
Yeah, Danbury would never. Even our most poppin' restaurants close at like 10, 11 o'clock.
So they say.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
So they say.
Yeah.
So they say. So back to you a little bit. That was my little rant on a dive bar.
Did you guys have to fight?
No, we didn't.
Oh, that's good at least.
No.
Just in case.
I'm old, Leticia. I'm not fighting no more. I mean, no way. I was having a good time. I didn't want to be bothered at that point. But what do you see for yourself in training in the future? Like goals, or is it just you're winging it right now? Because, from 10,000 feet where I see it, I know it's hard. We talked today. You don't see your progression, or don't feel it. I think there has been a lot of progression.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about this? I don't know if you remember the first day you walked in, then you started getting it. Then the next couple of days, then you stared wearing the outfits. And I told Ian, I said, Ian, when the outfits start becoming important in the training, now we got it hooked. Now we're into the thing. But in all seriousness, what do you see? You got any goals for yourself as far as this?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
is
I don't
it-
want the leg raises to hurt anymore.
Okay, but you've gotten to the point where it's getting better,
Yeah.
right? And you were working so much. You, like everybody else, you don't spend time for yourself. You don't do anything for yourself physically, and it's very important at every level to do that, to take time for yourself, take care of yourself as you get older. But I mean, I don't know. I think the sky's the kind of the limit for you. I think you're kind of like a diamond that's just not there yet, that needs to be a little more polished, a little bit more polished, and then where it'll be funny to see what the end result is here with you. But if you stick with it and everything else, what's the reaction of everybody else when you tell them I'm boxing or I'm doing this? Because it's not something that everybody does.
Yeah.
What about your brothers? Are you kicking their ass yet?
Yeah. I mean, I've been kicking their ass since I was a kid, but
And now you're more deadly.
yeah, now I'm way more deadly. Honestly, like no one was surprised really. I think that I've always just kind of been like that aggressive person. I think that like I was just to brunch with my best friends the other day, and they were talking about how like this is like the perfect thing for me, But I don't know. I don't think that people were super surprised, especially because I've been saying that like.
Is it
I wanna be-
aggressive or is it confident? There's a difference between being aggressive and being confident. Aggressive, you're hitting people and grabbing people, I think, in the sense, and you're confrontational. I think
I've definitely been confrontational for a little bit, but but I don't know. I guess just confident really. But I knew that I couldn't hurt somebody. It was one of those things. Like I remember telling people this like even a couple months back, where like, listen, if worst comes to worst and there's a fight, I'm probably not gonna win, but I'm not gonna stop talking. You can hit me again, you know? So I've always just kind of been like that for like arguments and things like that. But I don't know. Now I feel like I could take somebody down, okay.
Oh, yeah. Now you're like, oh, let me see where I could jump in over here
Yeah.
and go, back to your work. Now you're in this thing full time. Different balance. It's got to be a little bit uncertainty right now for you. How do you think you're going to transition from, you knew what you were doing every day.
hmm
You had it down pat. You were good at it. Now you're 360 into a whole nother world.
I will argue that this is a little bit easier than that. Only because, I mean, like, the only person that I could really hold accountable here is myself, and if I'm not doing things right, then ultimately the only person I'm really screwing over is me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas opposed to that, like especially when you're managing your restaurant, like you're working for everybody, So like if you miss one step, it it's like a trickle down effect where like now this person's not doing this and this person's not doing this and this person's not getting this because of that. Um so yes, I knew what I was doing for the most part every day at the restaurant. I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I remember my boss told me right when I started managing, he was like, as soon as you think that like the coast is clear, like as soon as you think that everything is okay for a second, your lead server quits. And it was always that. It was always like, I'm like right here to the finish line, next problem. Right here to the finish line, next problem. So I don't know.
That environment, more of a team unit, you
hmm
feel, as far as like, you know, again, people don't see everything that's going on, that you guys got to work together to finish through the night. Everybody's got to be clicking on all cylinders. You're all vested in it from the owner down to the bussers to the greeters, all making money off of the same place. Um, yeah, I think, again, when you get comfortable, right, that's when things start to happen differently, right? You get comfortable, mm, somebody quits,
Yeah.
something happens. You know, you got a 360, you got a circle, you got to make up a different. But now you're gonna be pretty much accountable to you.
Yeah.
How do you manage your time?
That's kind
Different
of
ball game when you work a schedule to managing your own time.
yeah, it's kind of nerve wracking, honestly, thinking about it, just because I am like so scatterbrained. It's not even funny. I think that what's helped a lot, obviously, is like having a schedule. I think that before, like I said, like some days I would go in at like 8 a.m. and some days I'd go in at like 10. So
Mm.
like I had a little bit more. I didn't have as much flexibility with my time, but at the same time, like things just made a little bit, I don't know, it just made a little bit more sense now. So, like, even at what I was telling you earlier, I mean, it is 99% to avoid the walks, but like, I almost want to be doing like a class every day so I can just like, okay, so that's what I do in the morning. This is what I do in the afternoon. This is.
The walks are that bad.
I hate them. I
The
hate the
walks are
walks.
that bad.
I hate the walks. I don't know why. Like, at first it was like fine,
You
and
think the
then.
walk's psychological for him?
Yeah, probably. He doesn't get a
He's
chance to come to
he's
cool
big
down.
into the walk.
Yeah, he loves the walk. I hate the walk. It's so boring.
I think it takes a lot of time out after you train to go on the walk.
Yeah. No, he's walking today. I'm not walking.
All right. Tip me off to the first big project on your own. First podcast. We got anything lined up? Or
No,
no, we're winging it.
we're kind of winging it right now. I'm just taking it as
You're
it
just
comes.
taking it easy
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
You're going to come out swinging for the new year?
Yeah, probably. I have to.
Yeah, you have to. Um, I need to kind of throw this out here a little bit. What makes you a little different than young women your age? What do you see as a difference? Because I'm going to answer my answer after you, because that's what I'm kind of leading up to.
I think that my biggest thing is like I've always been really passionate. Like anything that I've started, I've kind of taken head on. You know, I don't do things that I don't want to do ever. And like my mom will tell you that much. But yeah, I guess just the passion.
Well, I think the work ethic that you've learned and was instilled by your parents is definitely shows off from the gym, working in the restaurant, to now what you're taking on here. Do you feel, look, being around Ian, being involved with Ian, being here in the studio, do you have something to prove for yourself?
Yeah, for myself, I guess, more than anyone else. But I don't know. Yes and no, I guess. I've never been one of those people that like I don't give a fuck what other people think.
I
Honestly,
don't mean it like that, but it's a competitiveness.
yeah,
I don't mean like I agree with you, not because look, there's got to be that little bit of competitiveness that like, hey, I did this.
yeah,
See, for me, if I stop tomorrow, right? Because look, I have a daughter your age and one 2 years older than you. So when I started doing this, I got laughed at,
yeah,
right? So now it's like, do you see my views on that?
yeah,
They're like looking at my stuff, and it's like, oh, 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 how'd you get that interview? How'd you do this? So if I stop now, I've achieved a lot.
hmm,
But I'm like you. I'm like, there's more out there right now. I need to challenge myself a little bit more to see
yeah.
and see what happens. But look, I appreciate you coming on. I really, really, really do. And why don't you tell everybody where we can find you? Shout out your podcast and everything else. Give yourself a big up here so we can look for it and
Yeah,
follow you.
Sips and secrets on everything: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the things.
Looking for guests.
Yeah, looking for
If
guests.
you got an exciting story out there, maybe a couple of you fighters, I know you got some nightclub stories out there. Would be a good segue to be on her show. And look for Leticia not only in the gym. We're gonna do a little content as she gets a little more progress in the boxing gym. And we wish your podcast Sips and Secrets and everything that you do very successful, and to look for you out there and to follow you. And we're here to support you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come out here today on Coach's Corner. And have a happy holiday with your loved ones and your family, and appreciate you. Coach Dave McDonough, Coach's Corner. Train hard, train smart. We'll see you in the next round.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was cool.